Yeah, he left.
Oh, I'm like, what? Um, let's get into what's really going on here. What this episode was really supposed to be about is about the freedom of speech. And like I always say, join us in the rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying? But
What's
I'm really
the
starting to feel
time
like
check?
50 minutes.
Mm.
I'm really starting to feel like what's really going on is that we having class. We in the laboratory. We in the science lab. We in the break it down, bust it down, explain it, what's really going on with the world today. Why is this shit acceptable and how is it able to happen? But at the same time, we always try to bring some education to y'all. Like, we trying to put people on who ain't even know. You know. And so, freedom of speech, bro. Is freedom of speech, is the First Amendment still valid? Does it even exist anymore, Mobius?
It does. It's a big part of the Bill of Rights. It's a big part of what makes us us. Even as other countries have supposedly equal or more freedom than us,
Right.
the First Amendment allows us to do 90%. As harmful as it can be, it's on us to keep it in check, as with us the people, you know, which is it's a big part of what makes us us. But that First Amendment only stands to be as powerful as it is because it's backed by the Second Amendment. But I'm not going to get into that. We're talking about freedom of speech today.
Yeah, I mean, it's also backed by the 14th Amendment, but we also not going to get into that. We keeping it very light. And like I said, get y'all notebooks, get y'all pens, and get y'all papers, man, because I'm just, we just trying to break it down. Like, listen, with the way things are going on in the world, and this ain't even brand new. This like the past couple of years. Like, the more we see shit and we speak out about it, it seems like the more danger that we in. And I'm just talking about in the brown community, right? I'm talking about with all the racism that's been going on, right? But if you look back at history, it's like every person who spoke up on corruption of, whether it's political corruption, whether it's, some corruption in rich people, whether it's corruption in famous people, whether it's corruption in the school system, it seems like the people who speak up is always the ones who end up getting in trouble for some odd reason. They're getting in trouble, they're getting shot, they're getting murdered, they're getting thrown in jail for things that other motherfuckers is always getting away with.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we gonna let's just bust it down. Let me bust it down. Let me bust it down. And Mobius, you know how we do. Whenever you got some 2 cents to throw in there, go ahead and throw them in. But yeah, the name of this episode is Does Freedom of Speech Exist? Or does freedom even exist? Shit. We just gonna talk about the amendment number 1, but you know how we did on the last episode, how we got into the Bill of Rights. You know what I'm saying? And so, shit, does freedom even exist anymore in this country? Like, why is free speech not in the Constitution? Like, I want y'all to think about these things. Go back and read the Constitution. If freedom of speech is so important, and it is, in fact, the First Amendment, why is it not even in the Constitution? It's in the Bill of Rights, but it's not in the Constitution. So let's start with freedom of speech. Freedom of speech covers religious freedoms to speak and to worship any god of your choosing. Political beliefs, obviously, for you to believe in whichever party that you want to believe in, or not to believe in none of the parties. We got symbolic freedom, which I thought this was funny, which means that it's not illegal to burn U.S. flags. Mm-hmm. And so when I was growing up, I was definitely, the picture was painted to me that you would get in a shit ton of trouble if you burned a United States flag. Apparently, that's protected under symbolic freedom. And not just the U.S. flag, but any flag, you have the right to burn it, but,
It counts as protest.
Exactly. And so, Again, when I was growing up, that shit ain't seem very real. It was a whole bunch of threats around it. It was a whole bunch of do's and don'ts around it, you know. But anyway, the right not to speak, okay? So not only does freedom of speech cover the freedom to say what you want to say, but also the right to not say anything, which is also re-backed up by the Fifth Amendment. Fifth, whatever you say, fifth. You know, there are so many amendments, but I can only choose one. And it is the fifth. Anyway. Oh, shout out to Chappelle again. And then, you know, so we got to break it down, though, right? This is the one thing that I feel like a lot of people don't understand. And we talked about this in the audit. We probably talked about it a little bit in the last episode, too. But there's a lot of times where people are just reading, like, the main, you know, description of the Bill of Rights and not really understanding what it means. And so when you get put in a situation where you getting pressed out or harassed by the cops in regards to it, you just keep yelling out, but freedom of speech is free, right? Right? You can't infringe upon my freedoms. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. You're going to lock me up for freedom of speech. Like, there's rules to the game and there's levels to the shit. And if you ain't learned nothing from Trump getting banned on social media last year, well, that's what the fuck you should have learned. He was the motherfucking president. And, you know, me and Mobius done had this conversation in private so many times that we had to put this shit on the episode. I already knew something was awry in this country and not even just, and I'm not saying that Trump is right. I always got to clarify that shit. Because the orange agent we stayed talking about the orange agent and what we learned during his time as the president. You know what I'm saying? What his flaws is, but what we learned from him being the president. If you could stop the president from being on social media and talking shit, you know they could stop you, my guy. Any one of y'all Twitter fingers out here. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Oh, some other shit just came out. You heard about the documents that got leaked by somebody that worked at Facebook or something?
Yeah, Facebook, yeah, that's the outage, yeah.
Talking about some Facebook is promoting violence and killing and all this and that. But the lady was like, but we're not worried about that. We're worried about the misinformation. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Listen, if you're number one, if you can allow people to go live on Facebook and kill themselves, to go live on Instagram and kill themselves, but you telling me the president can't talk shit? You telling me that regular people can't talk shit on there and express their opinions? There is something, there is a motive, there's something being pushed here. There's a topic that we agree with and topics that we don't agree with.
Right.
When it comes to black people murdering other black people, we support that message. We support Little Nas X giving the devil a fucking lap dance like y'all best friends. The devil don't want to fuck you. He wants to fuck you. And I mean fuck you over. He wants to lie to you. He wants to deceive you. He wants to manipulate you. He wants you to think he your motherfucking friend. But he is far fucking from it. When y'all start thinking that shit is okay, but it's not okay to give your opinion about COVID-19. It's not okay to fuck even giving your opinion. To show true documents and information about the World Health Organization, about tests that are being conducted all around the world, and what's going on in relation to the vaccine. When you are going to call what the president told you, the president said, excuse me, the ex-president said, what'd he say? That COVID was the Chinese, that's the Chinese flu or whatever the fuck he called it.
Chinese hoax, yeah.
He's stupid. He says the Kung flu. When he said it was the Kung Flu, y'all said he was bullshitting. Y'all said, boo, get off the stage, he's being racist. I don't give a fuck how you said it. Where the fuck did it come from? When he told us that's where it came from, they was blocking his videos. When anybody who repeated that information on their personal Facebook page, you was getting blocked. And you might have got banned for talking about that shit. They literally cracked down. This is not just about Trump. They literally cracked down on all articles, on all people speaking about it, on all people typing about it. If you wasn't saying what the CDC wants you to know, what the CDC wants you to hear, what the CDC wants you to think, then you getting in trouble and you getting banned and you getting kicked off your platform and you getting told that you're a liar and you're spreading misinformation. But then less than a year later, we got government motherfucking documents that have been released that is proven all the shit that Fauci said last year was a lie, and a few of the things, only a few things, that Trump said was true. Where is the freedom of speech? Where is it going? Where is it going? Do we have any? Is it allowed anymore? Is it only for the Rockefellers? Is it only for the press? Is it only for the people in the news to make up and say whatever the fuck they want to say? And boy, shout out to Trevor Noah, and not just him, but everybody that work under him that be editing them videos where they literally take clips of Fox News and other news stations and be like, but you said this. It'd be the same damn anchor. You said this on this day, and then you said this on the next day. Like, you lying. You contradicting yourself. Which day are you actually telling the truth? Because we don't know whether we could trust you or not. Like,
it's so I do want to say, big tech has taken over the narrative, unfortunately, and just like the 3 or 4 companies that own 90% of the other companies here in the U.S. In terms of media.
Go ahead.
The damn conglomerates. You know, Facebook is now a part of that. Even as if they don't want to be, they've kind of they've kind of lost control in that situation, which is why we see Mark Zuckerberg constantly getting grilled by Congress as they try to figure out, you know, what's going on with Facebook, what's going on with big tech in the narrative, you know, and can they control it? Like, you know, they themselves don't know what's happening because they're just a bunch of boomers, but you know, it's nice to see them pushing back against just, oh well, you know, so Facebook, our systems do this, and we're totally.
My bad, Mobius.
Okay.
Huh?
I had to unplug my mic for 2 seconds. You said so Facebook does what?
I was saying, like, so it's, you know, Congress doesn't know how the internet works, basically, because most of them are just old people, just boomers. But, you know, it's nice to see the pushback against huge tech companies like Facebook, because they're like, oh, Facebook's like, blah, blah, our technology does this, we do this, we can monitor this, you know, we control this, blah, 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 we have it under control. And then Congress is like, nah, man, because this should happen. So break it down. Explain it to me.
Exactly.
What does this mean? And then we'll explain it to them. But it's, you know, they're so lost. It's like trying to explain tech to your mom. It's just not gonna work.
But just,
you know?
but not even
so
just
there's
that.
A bit of a.
But not even just that though. They're explaining it. Algorithms, blah blah blah. We're not responsible, blah blah blah. And Congress was like,
nah,
who set
turn
that shit
off.
up? No, they was like, who set it up? We believe in human error. We believe in human bias. If you got a human working there, like who programmed the computer? That motherfucker could be biased.
It learns on its own. Well, yeah, you need to turn that shit off then.
Exactly. And so, yeah, I do agree with you. It is kind of hard to explain the technology. But when you get into the basics of how does it get to where it is, a person was involved. The computer didn't create itself. The algorithm didn't create itself. You had to put in the keywords to tell it to monitor and who to watch and why to watch them. And that information, that input could be biased. And one thing we definitely been finding out is Google is racist as shit. And not just as a fucking algorithm, but as a fucking company. I mean, we ain't even get into that. Let me finish with this. We might have to get into the Alphabet Boys on another time, but listen, the Alphabet Boys own YouTube, and so there's only so much I can say.
Wait, when did you start calling the feds the Alphabet Boys? Where did that come from?
No, not the feds. Google is the Alphabet Boys. That's the name of the company. If you go invest in Google, it's called the Alphabet. Something. So, yeah. Yeah.
Different lingo then.
Calling the feds the Alphabet Boys. I know that's old as shit. Calling the feds
different communities.
The CIA, the FBI, the NYPD, like
NSA, DHS, DIA.
Yeah, but nah, I'm talking about we on 2021 Alphabet Boys. Like you said, big tech taking over. It ain't even about the motherfucking what the police doing no more. I mean, it is, but it ain't. It's about what the fuck we gonna allow to happen. And so, lucky we got the shit with the videos, but you know, like I'm about to get into with the other half of the First Amendment, when it comes to non-disclosures and shit like that, that's one of the reasons why military and big tech can get away with the fuck shit that they be on. And why you could get locked up for telling the fucking truth. But nah, but the fucking Alphabet Boys, listen, we can't talk too much shit on the platform. I'm just gonna keep it 100. One of the reasons why I was motivated to do this episode is because there's been a continued threat, not just Facebook, not just Mark Zuckerberg, not just Instagram, not just Twitter, because I feel like Twitter is the least cracked down on. Because they still got fucking porn on Twitter. Like, no matter what the fuck they try to say about cleaning up Twitter, if they even trying to clean up Twitter, Twitter got live fucking porn running on it all the time. So, if your kids is on Twitter, like we been told you last season, you need to watch your kids. What your kids doing? It's 5 o'clock. Like, the fuck? You need to watch their cell phone. What your kids doing? If Hanson, what's his name?
Who?
Henson?
Uh,
To Catch a Predator? Chris Hansen. If Chris Hansen ain't learned you shit yet about watching your kids and what the fuck they doing on their cell phone, y'all better open y'all eyes and pay attention. But it ain't just about what your kids doing. Come on, look at R. Kelly. It's little kids talking to adults all day long inappropriately, but you can't talk about COVID on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook.
Demonetized.
No, they said they're gonna ban you. They said they're gonna block your account. So the way you.
Well, I'm talking about in the beginning.
Yeah, the way they did it.
They would demonetize people.
They would demonetize you. They would give you 3 strikes. The 3rd strike, your account is kicked off. Nah, now they just said they're gonna ban you altogether if you doing some misinformation in regards to COVID. And so I'm, again. Where's the fucking freedom of speech? So let me finish that. The First Amendment is only protecting you. Nah, you good. The First Amendment only protects you to an extent. So everybody needs to open their eyes and understand that. Like I said, it's rules to the game. It depends on who you are. It depends on which level you are. That's another conversation me and Mobius had, right? We don't got 50,000 followers. We ain't got 1 million followers. Maybe one day when we get to that point, our videos may get banned and kicked off because they're going to notice. The algorithm is going to listen. They're going to notice to the shit we was talking, and they not going to like it. They not going to like that shit. And we already know it. That's why you need to hit us on the Twitch stream. We streaming right now on Twitch. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who regulating Twitch, but good money. And so let's get into it. Freedom of speech is not absolute. And so when it comes to, you know, there's different classes of speech that can be violated. And so the number one thing that they like to say in court is any type of speech that presents a clear and present danger. Okay, and my example of that is you in the airport and you like, is that a bomb? And everybody start panicking and shit, like, or maybe not, is
or
that a
yelling
bomb?
Fire in a theater.
Bomb! Or fire! And the shit not really happening. Is like you just created a clear and present danger because everybody gonna be hysterical, everybody gonna be running over each other, somebody might get hurt. It wasn't really no bomb for real. And so in some states and some localities, you can get locked up for that shit. Some you might just get a misdemeanor, some you might just get a, why the fuck you do that? But in this, I feel like in this present day with the whole current situation and people calling the cops on people that's really not doing nothing wrong and like making up stories about what they did wrong, and then like the police end up getting sued behind that shit. Like they, in some situations, they really trying to lock up these Karens or prosecute the motherfuckers who's making the wrongful phone calls. Because back in the day, I don't feel like enough white people was getting locked up for that shit. I see a black
Even
guy,
now,
he's
they still
making
aren't.
me nervous. Like, no, I know. It's only in certain situations where people who are making these false phone calls actually getting locked up. But at the end of the day, by lying to the police, you are creating a clear present danger. And that's another story I heard about. The lady loved the man so bad, she called his job and was like, I put 4 pipe bombs over there. I'm about to blow this shit up. She got locked up and they gave her a $1,500 bond, which is only $150.
Mm-hmm.
So she could very easily bond out of jail until her court case happens. Anyway, the other thing that, the other part of it is obscenities, right? Anything that's potentially offensive. And so me and Mobius just watched a video with a young boy, well, I was just telling Mobius about a video where the guy went into, shit. It was Stranton. I don't know what the fuck it is. I really wanted to talk about it because he really felt some type of way about it, and I wanted to talk about what he was doing. It wasn't obscenity. He was using, what's the word? I mean, curse words. He said, fuck your property. And he went to a public place, a public building, and he had a sign that said, fuck your property, and who he felt like he was quoting in regards to it. And he was getting pressed out about that shit for a very long time. Like, they was like, no, you got to get out of here. You got to go to jail. Like,
oh, you talking about the kid that was on what was it, Mount Rushmore or whatever?
Being a grown-ass man. Oh, no, that was in the other video we did. Nah. This was, this was inside of, like, a municipal, like a public place building for the city or the county or whatever. But anyway, he was protesting, which should be protected, right? But, like, in a lot of situations, you got to get, like, what we learned from that other video. Like, in some places, you got to get a permit to protest. You got to be in a certain location and etc. So he was really trying to protest, but it was just him by himself, and he only had one sign. So what he was standing behind is freedom of speech, but what they were saying is your freedom of speech is offensive. And so that's what I don't like. You know, I mean, I'm with it, right? I understand the point and the purpose, but I just don't like the ways that you get around basically saying I have the right to do this, but I really don't have that right at all. And so, again, you know, curse words is fucking curse words. Like, what if he would have put an F? Instead of putting fuck, he's supposed to put the F * K. You know,
asterisk,
I'm pretty sure, the asterisk. You know, I'm pretty sure he would have got the same response, but whatever. Anyway, the First Amendment does not protect you against hate speech. And so, you know, obviously we could classify what happened to Trump last year as hate speech and say, this is why your ass was kicked off of Twitter. It's like
Well,
you
even if it wasn't
inciting
hate
fucking
speech,
riots and
his
shit.
words caused the immediate deaths of like 5 people. So, you know, that alone is worth being arrested, let alone getting kicked off Twitter.
Right. And so, I mean, they couldn't arrest him because he was the president, but they did try to impeach him about that shit. And, you know, we ain't even got time to get into that article, but I did pull up that article about why he wasn't able to be impeached for his part in the fucking riots. And like Mobius said, we don't even gotta call it a riot. You ain't even gotta call it an insurrection. It was obviously clear and present danger that he put people's lives in and that caused deaths. Straight up. Another thing that's not protected is threats, right? In certain states, you can threaten somebody, and that's enough to lock your ass up for a felony, misdemeanor, whatever. Defamation. Defamation of character is what a lot of people know it as. Is, you know, false facts that causes detriment to somebody's life, some type of traumatic experience, or a negative effect on their character, their lifestyle, or financial, whatever. You could sue somebody for. Basically, when you in school and you call that shit spreading rumors and shit, all of that shit is cool. But when you turn into an adult, nah, that shit different. You're a millionaire, you're a billionaire, you got the bag. Somebody come out and talk shit about you. Like, it's a lot of, I learned from watching a lot of, you know, YouTubers talk about information in regards to famous people, you know, reporting on the information that they heard. They have to say things like allegedly in order so they don't get caught up in defamation of character until they find out if their facts are really facts or not, or until the public becomes aware that their facts are actually facts. Because what I've learned is every celebrity has a friend or person in their group that run their motherfucking mouth. And so no matter what you trying to hide, what they always say, old people always say, what you do in the dark will come to the light. One thing motherfuckers always be trying to hide is the shady shit that they be doing, thinking like they ain't never gonna get caught up for that shit. But there's always somebody that is very much willing to snitch on what you've been doing. So what you do in the dark definitely gonna come to the light. And so a lot of the times these, you know, these YouTubers or like small news or media outlets, like they be having true information, but the whole world doesn't know and they're not aware of it. And so what the celebrity will do is send over some type of like lawsuit paperwork or documents that's saying, you know, I'm gonna sue you for defamation of character if you don't take that video down or you don't get rid of that information, etc., etc. But if the information is true and they are honest with their lawyer, you know, there's nothing that they can really do with it but draw up some paperwork and threaten you to try to scare you into thinking that they're going to sue you. Because if the
Which
shit
happens
is true,
all the time here.
Yeah, happens all the motherfucking time. And so, you know, it is what it is. Commercial speech. This was something that bothered me, and I really need to like go into detail and have a better understanding of what they mean by commercial speech, because I'm thinking about like real commercials on TV, and them motherfuckers be lying. Them as seen on TV as commercials be lying. If you just do this like this, that shit gonna work. That shit is a lie.
False advertising.
False advertising. Y'all out here lying like shit, bro. And it's mad products that's out here doing that shit. But you know what? They get fucked over by like class action lawsuits. So it's like either you know or you don't know, right? You know, either you know or you find out after the class action lawsuit, and you be like, damn, that shit happened to me. I should have been in on that. Like, you know.
Speaking of which, there's a class action lawsuit against Wawa right now.
What? You lying?
Yeah, they had an information breach a while ago, and so if you used Wawa at any inside or outside, if you use their gas station and pay it with a card, you can get like $5 from them.
Oh. Wow, your information got released.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no good.
No bueno.
Fighting words is also, and I thought this to be ridiculous. Fighting words is not protected freedom of speech. I thought fighting words would be under the same thing as threats, right? But the example in the court case that was given said that some Mormon preacher or like street preacher had called somebody a fascist, and maybe they got their ass beat. I don't know what happened, but it was a whole court case in regards to it, where the Mormon ended up getting in trouble, I guess getting a misdemeanor or some shit. They, you know.
So fighting words, as I understood it, was like,
anything to make
it was like,
bust your shit.
Well, no, it's anything that would make a reasonable person want to bust your shit. So
and I don't think that's
if Polo come and said some shit, and then somebody said something, and then they want to fight, they're gonna look at him like, oh, whatever, you know.
Yo, mama.
But if somebody said something to me, and then I had a knee-jerk reaction to go to 100, you know, like it's like some dude just walking up and calling me the N-word. Like, oh, okay then, and then I punch him in the face. That would be the equivalent of fighting words.
Yeah, I guess. I seen a few videos where I was wondering when the Curb was acting out, and then she got her shit bust by the black person for calling them an N-word. I was wondering, was that black person going to jail or not?
Assault, like blah, blah, blah. It really depends on the state at that point.
I know, yep.
But,
yep. And
yeah.
that was my biggest and most important point. But that was gonna be at the very end. And then the last one is publishing trade secrets, aka a violation of an NDA or any type of contract. And so the First Amendment does not have your back if you sign an NDA. Basically, you got to put yourself in it. This is why people be leaking shit all over the place. You either got to leak the information and get absolutely no credit for the shit, or you got to put yourself in a situation where the FBI, the CIA, or the motherfucking feds is like, you better tell us. Because I believe that that's the only way you could get away with giving up information that you signed away in the NDA. You know, if you're subpoenaed to give up that motherfucking tea, you in front of the judge, fuck that NDA you signed, you got to give that tea up. And so that was another thing in regard to that case we was talking about earlier.
Well, the NDA only works until you get to court. If the court says, hey, I need that info, that's it, you know.
Yeah,
you're then compelled.
Flipping rap, exactly. And so as a person who have written NDAs and edited them to, edited, I can't even say it right, I guess that's right. Edited them to, you know, to benefit my specific situation and what I was doing. You know, that's something that I was made to understand. Like, this only works until we get in front of a judge, basically, the way Mobius said it. You can't tell my business to nobody else. That's it. You can't tell my business to nobody else. But the judge, yes. Not even to the police. Only to the judge. So, and then the lastly thing that Mobius brought up, and I brought it up several times throughout us going over the First Amendment and freedom of speech, you really gotta watch out, because local and state governments may violate your First Amendment abilities. Okay? And it's fucked up, but like, listen, they wrote the game. They wrote the game so motherfucking well. And I gotta touch 2 seconds back on. They wrote the game so motherfucking well that When slaves got their land, they wrote the game so well that they could take the land away. When black people start getting money and they start moving into affluential neighborhoods, they wrote the game so well that they could write you out of, like, via the code. And it's another word for it. When the city or the township ordinances, via the code that they set up and the ordinances that they set up to be enforced, they could literally write you out of it. They could write you out of it. They come on. Let's not act like black people is the only loud people. Spanish people loud, Arab people loud, white people loud, white trash is loud. Come on. Every person, it don't matter what race you are, every type of person in this world, somebody in your race, somebody in your family is ratchet, somebody in your family is loud, somebody in your family is ridiculous, and guess what? It don't matter. If I wrote it in my ordinances that you can't do this, and just because you the color that I don't like, I'm gonna wait till you do it so I could call the cops on you and be like, no, you don't have no rights, and throw the fucking book at you. Here's the ordinance, here's the code. Come on, police, enforce it. This is our local, state, and government rules and regulations. This shit don't even be a law. Ordinances are not laws. They are to be enforced. And so, you know, my last story that I want to share, because we almost at the 90-minute mark. You already know how we do it. We're going to bust it down part 1 and part 2 for y'all enjoyment. But, you know, the one thing that bothered me is I've been watching Christ Forgives YouTube channel, and he go all over the place, and he's a street preacher. And so the one thing that's so sickening is that he will literally go to your state, go to your city, go to your town, and read the ordinance, okay? And know where he has the right to stand, how many decibels he's allowed to speak at, and it never fails that the police will show up and try to kick him off the corner. And I'm not even going to say, like, not in every single situation, but it seemed like in the most popular areas, they will kick him out of. And so it'll be somebody riding past banging real loud music, somebody walking down the street with a boombox, people walking behind him making noise and yelling obscenities. And they will literally tell this man that he gotta leave, or he need to move, or he need to go, because he's inciting the riot, or he's saying obscene things. Just because he said Jesus Christ loves you and it's making people mad. Religious freedom is under protected freedom of speech. But people are so shady that they try to say that it's obscene and it's offensive. Listen, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. If somebody started busting down skeletons and slaughtering chickens in the middle of the street and praying to Satan, excuse me, not Satan, to Lucifer, I'm definitely, well, I guess it is obscene if you start killing chickens and shit like that, right? But like, yeah. But being like, Lucifer loves you, Lucifer wants you, like, I'm not gonna call the police on that person though. I might go argue with that person, as long as they don't call me an N-word. You know, you understand what I'm saying, right, Moby? It's like, I'm trying to respect that that's their, like, that's also your religious freedom at the same time.
I had a similar situation at the protests a couple years ago. I think I told you, there was an incident where this guy came out holding pro-Trump stuff while we were hanging out in front of Lafayette Square. And this was the 4th of July, because that was like the last day I was really out there. and I took off work that day. No. I came in later. Well, no, it was 4th of July. I think I had practice. I don't remember exactly what I was doing or what happened. I think we had a photo shoot and then I went down there. But anyway, so I went down there and this guy had passed out, and so we had to get
Oh yeah, y'all was giving the water and
we
stuff.
had to. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I threw my book bag under him. We moved. We took one of the tents was just kind of not the canopies. We took one of those canopies and lifted it up and put it over him. Just kind of fanned him and gave him some water. MPD came over it and made a little barricade around us to keep all the other people who, like once you have like two people who say, hey, I'm a doctor, I know what I'm doing, or I'm medically trained, I know what I'm doing. That's really it, because anybody else is just
like,
yeah. Well, even then, like at some point, all these other people coming to help become a problem. You know, it's too many people. There's not enough space to work, or in the case of what was happening there, like the person who's there first has control of the scene. That's how it works with cops. That's how it works with, the military. That's how it works with fire department. Like I'm here first. I have the most information, so you have to go through me. Well, all these other volunteers were coming around and they're just like, nah, I don't think he might need a sugar rush, he might need this, he might this, and they're like, look, he was here, I think he needs some sugar, he passed out, his brother says he's this, his brother says he has this medical condition, his brother's standing right here giving us this information, so I don't need you second guessing, what I'm doing. There's already two other people to do that. We're trading information and we're figuring it out, but we just need to cool him down first and foremost, and get some electrolytes in him. So he got some Pedialyte, took a couple sips of that, took some water, and then we just fanned him down until the ambulance showed up. But then this dude who was a Trump supporter came out and started yelling on his megaphone and causing problems, and people wanted to, of course, it was an old guy, people wanted to go over and fight him, and and I went over there and I talked and was like, hey, look, man, I respect your right to do that, as I know you don't agree with us being here, but can we agree to have some mutual respect for each other? Can you wait until we get this guy out of here before you continue? And he nodded his head and I shook his hand, and then I went back to work with the guy who's on the ground, and then the ambulance showed up and we cleared traffic for them. They put him on the back of the truck, and he went out the other way, and then I was like, thank you, and then I walked away, and then he went back on his megaphone and they went back on theirs and they started yelling at each other, and I don't know what happened after that, but
fight.
That probably, I mean, I think the cops just told him to just like go down the street a little bit for his own safety, and then they kind of had somebody watch him or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we don't have to agree with each other, but
exactly.
we've come a long way from where we used to be like, I don't like that, and I disagree, but okay. Now it's just, oh, you don't agree with me? Well, fuck you. I'm gonna stab you.
Let me get violent.
Everyone's
let me get violent. Let me
immediately
get
hostile.
Let me get immediately hostile. And shit, I hate to go back to the preacher on the street, but that's what was happening to him at like pride parades or like any place where like gay people would just kind of show up. That's what was happening. Like they would get violent with him, and it's like, for you to say that you love everybody and you care everybody and you don't judge anybody because of your sexuality, you can't turn your hand over and then be like, but you, sir, I hate. Like, what? Like, you can because you're human, but you literally just throwing your whole message out the window. Like, I can't trust what you saying. You iffy as hell. You know what I'm saying? If you got hate in your heart, let it out. You know what I'm saying? But you can let it out without hurting someone, without being violent. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Come on, it's a way to go about it. And so that's one thing you know, I definitely appreciate being a part of this country and having the right to protest, you know, but then they put rules and restrictions and regulations on the shit. It's like once everybody seemed to learn one law, they put some more restrictions in place so it can't and doesn't and it isn't allowed to apply to you. And that's that slick shit, if you don't pay attention to, that's definitely happening going on in the United States. So you already know what it is. It's the unknown unknowns in the motherfucking rabbit hole. I want everybody to do they research and look up the Brandenburg versus Ohio case. Maybe one day we'll get into it real deep. Shit, maybe the next episode we'll get into the history of the Ku Klux Klan. I don't know. But anyway, thank y'all for joining us. Shout out to the freedoms that we do have, and all I can say is we gotta try our best to try to protect ourselves, right? And I really feel like it's only one way to do it. Oh, you want to walk out and call the chopper so we can pop it? We can pop out on the chopper. This nigga dancing. How the fuck was you doing all them dances?
Let's go.
But,
we've probably been in here a full day. We could probably spin the wheel again.
You, Patty, it's a video game day? Not like a real life day? You lying. It's a real life day.
Yeah, it's the game in time. In game time, rather.
Yeah, it's not in game time. It's like a real day.
No, you just pull up your phone. It's 2 o'clock in the morning in the game.
I know, but what you saying? Oh, we don't know.
So I'm saying time moves much faster in game than it does in real life.
Yeah,
Wait, how do we get out of here?
But it wouldn't let me spend that zone again.
Well, it hasn't been a full day, apparently.
Nah, it definitely has. Because on the last episode we did, it went from night and day to night and day like 5 times. Well, probably like 6 times. How the fuck do you... This don't like the real casino. No. Oh, nah, the door's got a car. To get out or whatever, yeah.
Right there.
I was running. Hey, what's up, man? Fuck what y'all got going on right here. I try to be real disrespectful. Try. But yeah, man, shit. Thanks for kicking it with us, man. You already know. Hit us on the IG, the unknown dot or period unknowns. You know what I'm saying? Instead of an O, it's a 0. And instead of an S on the second unknowns, it's a 5. So hit us on that IG, baby, and let me know. You know what I'm saying? If you want to get our Twitch information, you know what I'm saying? If you got any comments about the episode, all you got to do is just say, yeah, I bang with this episode, or I absolutely don't bang with this episode. Like, you know what I'm saying? But we looking for opinions. We want people to share. We're going to keep doing this thing on Twitch because we don't know how long we're going to be able to last on the Alphabet Boys channel. You know, they monitoring everything. Wow, that's what we doing. He trying to catch a charge, y'all. He's trying to catch a charge. Driving reckless. But, again, man, thanks for joining us. We riding out. Shout out to the United States, man. Know that if it wasn't for brown people, it wouldn't be what it is today. So support your local brown community. Support your brown friends. Support the people who support you. Show love. Do what you do best, yeah. Be yourself. And don't ever try to be anything else. A better version of yourself. Yeah, be nice, be calm, keep your composure. There's gonna be a lot of people out here that's gonna try to take you to the next level. You ain't gotta go there, you ain't gotta entertain it. Ooh, I like it, we driving off into the sunset.
Hi there.
You know what I'm saying? Just do you, man. Just do you. Any last words, Mobius?
remember, fuck around and find out is actually a scientific method. So,
Oh,
you know.
Okay,
Investigate and then fuck around with it and then see what happens and then learn. That's a scientific method.
That's a scientific method. Listen, Mobius, you coming from a real positive place. Cause all I heard was fuck around and get shot. That's all I heard. Fuck around with the wrong shit and become an example of your mistakes like shit, boy. Fuck around and get your shit bust. Anyway, alright, yeah, there's always 2 sides, 3 sides, 4 sides to the coin. So, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, off into the sunset. Shout out to the moon and the sun. And just be blessed, man. All brown everything, man. You know what it is. Unknowns, unknown. And we out with the Wu-Tang shit every time. Unknown, unknowns, motherfucker, we out.